Strange mumbling wafted from the figure crouched by my feet. Suddenly, completely alert and awake, I froze. The ice in my veins crept up my throat, stifling a scream. My eyes darted from the figure to where my husband should be. All I saw was our bedsheet. My gaze slid from the empty space by my side to the muttering figure. My blood warmed and my muscles relaxed. That figure was my husband. I opened my mouth to call out to him, but something stopped me. It was the discomforting way his head was tilted, or the odd slouch of his shoulders. Maybe the bizarre incantation he was reciting. But I knew something wasn't right. A tense calmness settled over me. That's the way I get whenever I'm in real danger. Like the time I was in a diving accident, or when I found myself on a highway with cars racing towards me. I stared at my husband as he chanted. He reached out a finger and wiped something on the bottom of my right foot. I had to clamp my whole body down to not react to the shock of the sudden cold, viscous liquid that he wiped on my foot. He was drawing something with it. I must have twitched a tiny bit, because he looked up. My eyelids flew shut, and I prayed that he didn't see me close them. Nothing happened for a few moments, and his chanting never stopped. Then, I felt the same cold liquid on my left foot. I kept my expression blank, as if soundly asleep. I didn't dare open my eyes for a long time after. He must have chanted for another half an hour. The whole time, I kept absolutely still, except for a few slight shifts, which I thought would mimic the natural movements of sleep. I felt him settle down back by my side after the chanting stopped. I could see the light flare up on his phone screen through my eyelids, hear him tap on his phone, typing something. Then he was still, and after a while, his snores started up. I didn't sleep a wink. By the time his alarm rang, my urge to pee was overwhelming. I pretended to stir at the sound of his alarm, and forced a sleepy smile when he planted a kiss on my forehead. He took forever to get ready. I ached to move, to open my eyes, to see what the hell he had drawn on the soles of my feet. I needed to research the sounds of the chant that I had memorized, try to figure out what language that was, and what he was saying. More than anything else, though, I really needed to pee. The moment his key turned in the lock, I sprang up from the bed. I made sure to still be quiet, though, in case he was listening at the door. I'm glad to say I made it to the loo. Next thing I did was check the bottoms of my feet. I breathed a sigh of relief when I saw that he had not drawn pentagrams. He had drawn a spiral swoop with a slash through it. Some other details I couldn't make out. It clicked in my head then. The annoying dirt I'd washed off my feet the past few weeks. Every few days, I'd step into the shower and see puddles of rusty brown ooze from my feet into the water collected in the shower area. I'd rub my feet vigorously on the rough floor surface, but still have to scrub the remaining dirt away with my hands. I'd thought my shoes had stained my feet, but none of them bore the reddish-brown tint of the dirt on my feet. I thought I'd stepped on some nonsense while in the house, but wasn't able to locate it. Not that I tried that hard. Life is busy, and some dirt on my feet wasn't a priority. Now I knew what it was. It was this strange symbol, drawn in that brick red liquid. Icy pinpricks enveloped my back and neck. My husband had been doing that to me for the past few weeks, sitting up at night, chanting, painting this odd stuff on my feet. It could be that he read up some odd protection spell, perhaps. Wanted to keep me safe, but didn't want me to judge him for believing in such stuff. I nodded to myself, trying to force that belief into my core. But I knew it wasn't true. There was nothing benevolent about what I had witnessed. My gut knew it. I researched that damn symbol for a long time, but the closest thing I came to finding was something about a purification symbol. Even then, I wasn't sure it was even the same symbol. Those on my feet were messily drawn in the dark. Maybe it didn't even resemble what my husband intended it to be. I planted a camera in the bedroom after that. I went straight to the shops and got the smallest, most subtle model I could find and slipped it into my skincare shelf that faced the bed. I figured he wouldn't look in that mess of creams, sprays, and knickknacks. I know I could have simply asked him what was up, but I didn't. Couldn't. Something about bringing it up to him felt fundamentally wrong. Every instinct I had was to shove it under the carpet, hide my knowledge, pretend everything was fine. I think it's that he's been acting different lately, not in the ways that anyone else might have noticed. But I know this man inside out. He's an amazing, kind, and funny man. Warm, conscientious, and always willing to see the best in others. That type of man. I can't articulate just what it is that changed. He still treats me well, acts interested in our conversations, cuddles me to sleep and kisses me goodbye every morning. But there's something within him that's changed. When he smiles, laughs, and shows interest, there's something behind his eyes, like he's watching me, observing my reactions, taking notes, making plans. I can almost see the wheels turning in his head in every action he does with me. I know this could all be paranoia, but he also said something really odd. We haven't been intimate in a few weeks, and when I asked if things were fine, he said, and I quote, "Just want to keep you pure." I remember the exact words and the tone he said it in, because all of my flabbers were ghasted. He had never, in our years together, said anything about purity. We both found it alarming and predatory whenever men comment on things like purity. So his words came completely out of left field. He must have seen the ghasted flabbers on my face then, for he immediately backpedaled and tried to laugh it off. Said it was a joke, just to push my buttons. But I don't think he was joking. I thought I was going crazy, or that it was the stress getting to him, changing him. But I honestly felt like the husband I knew was somewhere I couldn't reach, that he wasn't the man I loved anymore. It was a really good imitation, but it wasn't him. I kept telling myself I was thinking too much, that my intuition was way off. But now I know something is really wrong. The next time he did that odd ritual was 2 days after I had the camera installed. I didn't need the camera though. I was wide awake. My sleep at night has almost been non-existent. I snatch quick naps throughout the day when I'm not around him, like at the office toilet, during lunch, on the bus back. He had just painted that cold damn liquid on my right foot when I pulled my foot back, pretending to be repositioning myself in sleep. The cold droplets dripped down my foot, and he cursed, breaking the chant. Then he went back to chanting, more feverishly than before. I cracked my eyelids open for the merest fraction. Every muscle in my body froze. My husband's head was lifted this time, and I caught a clear glimpse of his face. His eyes were rolled back, and the whites of his eyes met my gaze. His skin was a pale grey pallor, nothing like the healthy tanned skin of his. I choked down the scream and forced myself not to react. I willed the same tense calmness back, and thankfully, it glided over me in a rush. That was when he crawled up over me. My eyes were shut, as naturally as I could make them. I made my muscles untense. I counted down from 99 in my head. That alone saved me from hitting out, from screaming my head off, from sprinting from the bed. I kept still as he crawled up, until I could sense his breathing on my face. Then, he peeled my right eyelid open. His fingers were cold and sticky with the liquid. I didn't know how to react. How do sleeping eyeballs behave? Do I roll my eyes back? Thankfully, or not thankfully, I didn't have to do anything before something cold dripped into my right eye. I flinched involuntarily, but immediately I made it seem like a natural reaction one would make in sleep. I let out an uncomfortable moan to sell the point. The liquid didn't burn. There was a tingling sensation in my right eye, but that was it. He seemed to buy that I was asleep, for he then peeled my left eyelid open. This time, when the drop hit my eyeball, I twisted aside roughly. I felt a sudden cold on my side and heard him hiss. Even in that quiet hiss, I could hear his rage. I realized whatever had been holding his damn liquid had toppled by my side. The liquid was seeping up my shirt, spreading. I groaned and flipped onto the other side, as if disturbed but still very much asleep. I could hear his panic in the flurry of his movements. He wiped off the liquid seeping from my eye and left the room. The minute the door closed, I rubbed frantically at my eyes, trying to rub out every last drop of that goddamn liquid. I heard his footsteps and immediately dropped back into bed. He entered the room, and I stayed quiet, still. Suddenly, a cold liquid poured down the side of my shirt, where he had previously spilled whatever liquid that was on me. He swore out loud. I sprang awake this time. There was no way I could fake sleeping through that. The lights flicked on, and I shielded my eyes, ready to bolt. I'm so sorry, love," he said, looking mortified. There was an empty wine glass in his hand. "I couldn't sleep. I needed a drink. I'm sorry. I brought it to bed. That was dumb. So dumb. I wasn't thinking. I was half asleep. I'm sorry. I've spilt it all over you. All over the bed." I gaped at him, speechless. I glanced down at myself on the bed. Red wine covered my shirt and the bedsheet. This was how he was going to cover it up. Hide traces of his crazy. Terror seized my every cell, but my survival instincts took over. I faked being upset. Why would you bring wine into the bed? Everything's stained. This is going to take forever to wash out. Oh, my favorite Snoopy shirt. I glared at him. I saw that his cheeks were once again a healthy tanned color. They were even flushed with seeming embarrassment. He kept apologizing, and I reacted as I would usually, as much as I could. In a few minutes, I told him it was fine, just a mistake, and that if he took care of cleaning the bed and the bedsheets, all was good. I went back to sleep after changing out. Or so he thought. I could hear him typing away, texting or whatever it was after he had settled back into bed. Who the hell was he texting? I was wide awake the whole night once again, all the way until he left in the morning. This time, there was no urge to pee, just a deep pool of iciness within my chest. Once he was out of the house, I checked the camera footage. The night vision was great, so I saw everything clearly. Everything happened as I experienced it. I wasn't crazy. The crouching by my feet, the painting of the liquid, even the part where he crawled up to drip the liquid in my eyes. But one thing was different. Or new to me, at least. Right before he dropped the liquid into my right eye, he looked straight at the camera. His eyes met mine through the camera lens, and the corners of his mouth crept upward. His lips parted in a replica of a smile. Then his head snapped back down, and in dripped the liquid. I swiped the footage shut. I packed my essentials then. Passport, ID, cards, cash, a few sets of clothes. Basic necessities. I'm sitting here in the living room with my duffel bag. I can't bring myself to leave. I tried. I was almost out the door, but somehow I just couldn't take the step out. My feet were rooted to the ground. The love I feel for this man just surged through me. It's crushed my certainty that I needed to leave. It reminded me of everything he had ever done for me. Tides of love and loss crashed over me. Whatever he has become, he is all the family I have. He is the love of my life. Or was. I don't know. I can't leave him. He needs help. Medical help. An exorcist. Whatever it is, he needs help. I can't leave him. We made vows. I have to stay. I don't know why, but I know I have to. I can't leave him. But I'm so scared. I'm so fucking scared. I've never been this helpless before. What should I do? What can I do to bring back the man I knew? The man I love? What is he planning? This version of him? This strange person I no longer recognize? What does he want? Is it really something to do with purification? Purifying me? For what? If someone out there knows something, anything about what this could possibly be, if you have any ghost of a suggestion that could help, please, please tell me. Please. Because I really don't think I can leave.